Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, this is Mike.
Sì, ciao Mike.
Ciao.
We have a few mics today. We have Mike Ackrell with long hair, love the hair. COVID hair is good. You're on mute, but I'm sure that you're happy about my public shaming that just happened. I love it. So thank you so much for participating today. As you know, we are often, I'm often accused of being too transparent and sharing too much information, but we really believe that we are partners in continuing to advance our wonderful school. And so we are here to share some news as we hear them, and also to be available for you for any questions you may have about the exciting future development of the Mission Campus. We are fortunate to have our board co-chair, Lauren Sagan, with us today. Thank you so much, Lauren, for joining us. And Eric Togstad, your fellow parent and the chair of the Embrace Committee, but also an incredibly valuable member of the Facilities Committee at La Scuola. So, Lauren, maybe I will let you start and say a few words.
Sure. Well, it's too bad we couldn't all have been there at the property together, because it's pretty exciting. I mean, many of you have seen the property, I'm sure. But we've come a long way since we got the lease and designed the project, and digging deep into the phasing, the financing, the programming. It's been a juggling act between Fell and Dogpatch and the mission, and how do we orchestrate all these moving pieces, and Vale and her whole team has done a fantastic job. We're doing all this through COVID, which has made it a lot more challenging. But I think we have a pretty good feel for how we can go forward. We can get everything consolidated there and leave Fell so that it's easier for the parents and the families, and have a more cohesive campus that will have some phases in it, some transition, but we think it'll work really well. So, I mean, we could, between Eric and I think we can answer a lot of the questions, but it's complicated, it's not simple, and so we understand that it might be confusing for some of you that aren't, dealing with it on a daily, weekly basis. But it is coming together, and we're really very pleased with how it's working. So with that, questions? What can we, how would you like to?
Eric, do you want to add something?
I think the key is that we've had lots of discussions around the phasing of it. And there's been a lot of communication around the work to bring everybody together for the summer. And we're really in the weeds on that right now. We're going to build an amazing playground at the Mission Campus and develop that. And we're bringing in classrooms to make it so that the younger years have direct access to the playground. So really the first phase that you'll see, a lot of you will all feel it as parents, is that the K through 8 will all be on the one campus, which is exciting. It's not our permanent building that we're hoping to build soon, but it's the goal to have everybody together, so you can have the kindergartners seeing the big kids, and really that's really what it's about, to have everybody together. And I think it will make people who have multiple campus drop-offs easier as well. We can talk about the specifics of the summer program that's happening, as well as some longer term things if you have questions.
And thank you for pointing to that, the aspect of also having K-8 all together in terms of the students, having the benefit of having, for the older students, having the little ones, and for the little ones to look up to their 8th graders. I think this is something that was really missed as we split between the Mission and Fell. And I think it was felt by the younger students, but also by the older students. Last year, even our graduating 8th grade class, did mention how they really did miss the little ones on campus. So I think it's important. It will be very cozy. So I think we all need to be aware of that. We're going to be very cozy here, and so I have a lot of again, admiration and empathy for our teachers and the leadership, the pedagogical leadership team, Fede and Sally and Doug, who are trying their very best to create a schedule and assigning students to classrooms in the way that's going to be really best for your student. And so as Eric said, lots of meetings, and Lauren, lots of meetings are happening. I'm so appreciative of the creativity and talent that the pedagogical leadership team has brought to this. And know that they always do this with the best interest of the student in mind. So they're also here today, so they can ask any pedagogical question. They can answer, any pedagogical question for you all. So Eric, did you want to reshare the layout of the yard? So
yeah, there's a direct question that came in about basketball courts, and I think it's a nice way to answer it. If we share the screen and I can show you really kind of the components. This is a rendering that we're going to share momentarily that was done by Michele Zini, who is our architect in Modena, Italy, and he has designed the new building, but he's also designed this playground. And we are getting bids and hiring subcontractors now for this work. So here you go. So let's orient everybody here real quickly. The sidewalk there you see on the lower part of your screen, that's 18th Street. You see the St. Charles building to the right. And then just see where the garden, the umbrella, the dark area there, that's the current convent. The convent's being torn down. The asbestos and lead paint has been removed from that building already. Elisa managed that, and now we're going through the process of scheduling the demolition of the convent. So when the convent comes down, we'll have an amazing big garden there. To the right, you see the green area with the blue border. That's a half soccer field, so a calcio. Then going up above that, there's the little pink oval with the kind of organic thing that as a placeholder for what we will be doing as for a play structure. We looked at taking the play structure from Fell to here, and getting the play structure out economically from Fell to here doesn't make sense. So we're buying a new one. And then you see over there, there's the kind of a groovy viewing platform kind of place for kids to climb up and hang out, so that they can be part of the garden, part of the soccer, part of the play structure. To the left of that is, right now it's shown as a rectangle, but that will actually be two little huts. One will be the garden shed, and the other one will be the PE storage shed. And there'll be a gap between them where we'll put the rain barrels for rain collection. And then north of that, heading towards the back, the little blue building there is one of the classrooms that we're bringing in. There's the basketball court, to answer your question. There's area there. So there's a blue building, a green building, and then at the very, very, very top right corner, you get a little peak of an orange building. So there are three buildings. The blue one has 2 classrooms. The green one has 2 classrooms. The orange one has 1 classroom. And then there's a little gap between between the green and the orange one. That will be maybe a little hangout, kind of quiet spot for kids to kind of go, and maybe we can have a little breakout classroom there or something, kind of a little niche. The spot there north, between the green building and the play structure is where we can put some the benches for lunches, or we can have that be just kind of a hangout zone, or we could have outdoor classrooms. There's also a volleyball court, net rather, that will go to the middle of the basketball. So if you wanted to set that up for volleyball, you've got volleyball in the middle. All along.
And Eric, on the basketball, I just wanted to add, Josh, we also still have the use of San Carlos gym. And so there is also an indoor basketball facility at San Carlos. So just that.
Yeah. I see a comment from Mike talking about a wall to have hard games to bounce against, essentially the ball to bounce against a hard wall. To think about that. Right now, how the terrain works is the playground is below the level of the sidewalk. So it's actually, there's a long retaining wall all along 18th Street. So you can kind of see down along that fence. We're going to put a planter and plant vines and flowers so that you have a little privacy from pedestrians looking down into the garden, as well as just kind of have it be a little more friendly. Oh, there you go. So you see the wall. And so what we had talked about doing is doing a planter along that wall. But if it makes sense to not have a planter and instead do a hard wall, we could take the, let's think about that. That's a good idea. Nothing's set in stone on that planter right now. So ideas. Okay, cool. That's kind of it at a high level, guys. That's, but more questions, we're welcome to talk about it.
So there was a question from Shannon. I answered it in the chat. Yes, we did. You did miss the announcement. We are all moving to the mission in August. We are, again, moving ahead full speed to make sure that that happens. Everything is done by the beginning of the school year. Obviously, we are prioritizing the modulars and making sure that there are classrooms there. If something falls behind, it may be some parts of the yard will not be fully developed, but we want to make sure that all the construction is done prior to the beginning of the school year. And when we moved to the mission with our 7th and 8th graders 2 years ago, they actually built the garden. We had the space, we got so it was actually an incredible experience for them. So we're hoping that we're not going to be in that position, but we always use these opportunities for our older students to learn something new. If there was a delay, we would obviously prioritize the younger students. They would be placed, in classrooms because they are not, for them it's harder to handle transitions. Again, when we moved to the mission and we did have a delay at that time, our 7th and 8th graders spent a week walking around the neighborhood in the mission, visiting sites, museums. It was an incredible experience. And it was so good that we decided that this should happen, whether we have a delay or not, because it was truly an incredible learning experience for them. And again, for the little ones, of course, we will make sure that they are the ones that get a stable place to be in.
Josh is asking a question about the quantity of classrooms. Yes, there's enough classrooms with the additional 5 classrooms and the St. Charles. Elisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the projection was there's enough classrooms for, kindergarten to first grade 2, everybody's going 2 grades up through 2024 or 25. I think, can't remember. Is that right?
That's correct. Also, the younger grade this year has been split in 3 groups for COVID reasons. So we hope that next year we can join them together again.
And thank you, Lisa, for joining us from Italy.
Yes, Michael's asking first graders in the main building. My understanding is, and Valentina, you correct me, but my understanding is that the kindergarten first graders are in the buildings that are directly access to the yard, the new buildings that
but in St. Charles, Fede and Doug chipped in here in case I have missed something, but the idea is, yes, we would have them on the ground floor in the main St. Charles building.
Yes, correct.
So as we're waiting for questions, and Joel, was there an option to submit questions before this meeting? And if people did, could you make sure that you pass on the questions to us? So one thing that may happen actually some point in the summer is that the city will have a public hearing. Everything has been a little unclear on that. This is, may not happen. Eric, you and Lauren, you're the experts on this. Maybe actually Lauren has left. But in that case, would we want parent support, or, we would maybe send you a letter that you can write to the Board of Supervisor of the Planning Department in support of our project? Is there a possibility of that to happen, Eric?
Yeah, what our permit expediter is saying is that the I'll get technical for a minute if you would like, if you bear with me. The modular classrooms are going in as of right. So that's a technical term, meaning that we have every right to do them. The city can't say we can't do it because of an emergency measure put in place by the mayor. The mayor, through COVID, said we need to allow temporary classrooms so that we can have the proper social distancing to reopen schools. So she put in place an emergency measure that we are taking advantage of. So we are using that permit loophole to install those classrooms. Those classrooms can be in place, as I mentioned with Elisa confirming, up to 5 years. So we have the ability with this temporary emergency measure to do that. As part of the bureaucracy of San Francisco, even though it is as of right, you have to go and share the information with the community. So there will be a public hearing, and part of that got tied into the fact that we're demolishing the convent as part of that to make the space appropriate for all of us. So when the public hearing happens, we'll send an announcement around so that if people want to support and voice their support, we'll help facilitate that for us. That's the headline on that. It's a bureaucracy more than an impediment. So it's just a process of going through to get the permits to get it in there.
Question on the kindergartners and first graders, Doug and Fede, that's for you, and Sally. And Joel or someone, can you help us keep track of the questions, please, and ask them as they come in? Thank you.
To respond to Trond, yes, we definitely want to keep play space from the youngest, say K2, separate from the 6-8. And what we used to do at Fell Street is the middle school would go to the Hayes Valley playground for recess. And so we need to live into the space as we have these new spaces. I don't know if everyone appreciates how huge the footprint of the convent is right now. So that garden area is actually a really large new space for us. But we also have 2 city parks, one a block away and one 2 blocks away, that have pretty good facilities for middle school students. One is a grass area in Chan Kajal, a block away, and at Jose Coronado, there's sports facilities that could be available to us too. So we might think about just having the 6-8 do their recess on one of those city sites. But we really need to see how it feels. But the larger principle is we'd keep, it doesn't make sense to have a playground with K2 and 6-8 throwing balls around at the same time.
Yeah, and the connection, I mean, the strong connection that forms also between the K-8 students. I mean, this is something that is going to happen when we're going to have, buddy students for the younger ones. I mean, so we'll make that happen within the school. So it's going to be a more structured way of them connected to one another. So when the oldest class was a FEL, Doug took them to the Hayes Valley playground pretty much the whole year. And I think it was a great opportunity for them to have their own private recess. I mean, it worked out extremely well. So the older students really enjoyed that. There's a question about bikes. Maybe Elisa, you're the best one to answer it. Definitely there won't probably be enough space to park indoors, I think, but I'm not sure. So Elisa, I'll let you take that one, but thank you for the question. There are those bike hoops just outside the school where some bikes can be secured, for at least a short time.
Yeah, and we have a request to the city to add more along the curb, both on Shotwell and 18th Street, and we'll have a bike shed, a covered shed just at the door.
We have one more question coming in. Has the meal program been decided, and will lunch be part of next year's program?
Sorry. Oh, so what program, Joel?
The food, the meal program.
Yeah, has the meal program been
Yeah.
decided, and will lunch be part of next year's program? Is the
So
question.
lunch will be part of next year program. The exact details are being worked out by Dani, who unfortunately had an emergency and could not be at this meeting. But Dani is in charge of it, and she's looking at options for next year. We've really enjoyed working with 54 Mint. And so we will probably keep using them. What we don't know about the format, also we don't know the regulations yet from the city, if we have to keep individual lunches or if we can do it family style. We're hoping to go back to family style, but definitely the provider will be them. We have to figure out spaces, who eats in the classroom, and how we're going to manage that logistically. And I'm sure that we can put that question to Dani and we can send you an update. But lunch is here, yes. Obviously, the sooner we build a new building, the better. So we're going to have a full kitchen, and we'll be able to make lunch like a really very important part of their daily life.
Hey, Valentina, what's the contingency plan again? Remind me, if the portables are, as Eric was saying about the bureaucracy of San Francisco, and I'm in the industry as well, so I understand it well. If it does get delayed, if the portables get delayed or anything by, I think kinder goes August 17th. So if it extends beyond that, what's the contingency plan for, the kinder and first?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Mike. They never cease to surprise me, our city. And Eric, I'll let you go, and then also probably Doug has something to add. We obviously will prioritize the the stability of the little ones. They'll be in class. I think Doug has already been thinking about plan B, C, D for our older students, and they're all really quite exciting and creative. I'll let you speak, Eric, and Doug too. But thank you for the question. We're going to be on it all summer, but there is that one thing we cannot control, and that is the city of San Francisco.
Right. I'll get technical again, but I think it's helpful. I'll try to make it clear.
We like technical. We like
Yeah,
technical.
it's good. Because the portables are as of right, and because the portables, we're calling them modular classrooms because portables just has such a negative word. I know it's funny to say it that way, but our classrooms, modular classrooms, they're manufactured and they are customized for us off-site. And because they're customized for us off-site at the factory, they are inspected and approved for installation there. They self-inspect, and the city of San Francisco allows that. And so therefore, because they're as of right, we can bring them in and plop them down and make them ours and put the plants in front of them, and they can be brought in without essentially much ado. We would love to do it expeditiously and most economically, because we try to do the most with what we have. And with that, we would like to tear down the building first, get all the mess out of there, and use the ramp over off Shotwell to remove the big bulk of the convent. The demolition of the convent is only 2 weeks. So it's a really, really fast process to get that building down. So what we would love to do is get that building down, clean it up, bring the modulars in, which we have every right to do. So if we get held up with the bureaucracy, we will bring in the modulars and take the building down the hard way, which would be down off of 18th Street. And so the idea is the modulars are going in, and we will make them happen, and they will be ready to go. It may cost us a little more, and we may have to pay more money to the demolition contractor to have that happen, but that's our contingency plan, that we will take the convent down, which is the bigger piece and the piece that gets involved with the bureaucracy of public hearings, the convent demolition. So we have our backup plan that way. We want to do it the cleanest way and the tidiest way and the most expeditious and cost-effective way, but we will do it prioritizing the kids is the idea, if it happens. Hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was maybe a contingency plan where the little kids go into another classroom and, you know, yeah, I'm just.
So
I would love to.
Yeah, so there is a question I think that connects to this one, Mike, where are the students going to be in which classroom? I mean, we're still working on that plan. There are pros and cons of both, the little ones being in the portables or the little ones being in the main building. We are also kind of focusing on the transitions they're going to have to go through. And so, you know, if there is this possibility that there is a delay in the classrooms being ready, which, like Eric said, we are prioritizing the modular classrooms, so making sure that we have classrooms over the demo in the yard, because we need the classrooms. But the unlikely event, if someone has to wait or move, we would make it the older students, because they're just a lot more flexible that way. But Doug, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I would just share that when 2 years ago we moved into the mission, we did have a couple-week delay, and we just pivoted in our middle school inquiry into using the city of San Francisco as a classroom. So we'd meet on campus at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then have a learning activity, basically a field trip every day for more than a week. And it was really great learning. We could come back to the campus at the end of the day. We're all on one-to-one tablets. So we could carry on with the sort of normal reading, writing, math using the tablets, but we were doing a shared inquiry into city subjects. And so I think about that as a contingency, thinking about, well, what if we had until, say, Labor Day, a 3-week inquiry into San Francisco Bay studies. And I guess I can think about contingencies that go beyond that, but I think it's probably a better use of my energy to wait and see, because at the moment, I think that we really are thinking that portables start to come on campus at the end of June or early July. And so those are fun things to think about, but I don't want to put too much energy into it if we don't do it. And I do want to just add what Valentina said, that having done that 2 years ago, we thought it was such a good learning experience that even if we had the classrooms, shouldn't we do something like that, because it really makes for great community building. It's kind of like class retreats or community time. So we think about that, using the city of San Francisco. And of course, getting on the bus with middle schoolers is a much lower hurdle than getting on the bus with kindergartners. And that's why we focus on the bigger kids.
And I just want to say, for the benefit of people who were here, Doug and I did not plan this. Doug, I had shared the last two just before you joined in response to a question, and I had also shared what a positive experience it was for the class, including my son. I just want the audience to know that Doug and I were not outside in the corridor planning this answer. We spontaneously shared the same thoughts.
Actually, I do want to say that actually, we have a field trip going on right now in the middle school, and we're not using public buses. So I have 7th graders who have walked to Bernal Heights Hill and are now at Holly Park, and they're waiting for their lunch, and I'm their lunch driver. So I'm gonna pop off.
Ciao, thank you so much. So there's a question from Michael. Is there anything practical the parents can do to help? Why not demolition? I actually think it'd be a great team building experience. I think all of us can just probably do this in a week, not 2 weeks, Eric, if we all get in there. But do you have any thoughts on that, Eric?
Yeah, I think we're talking with we have a person who's working with us doing the general contracting for all the summer work. And what he would like to do is get everything done as quickly and as expeditiously, again, as possible. And that means probably hiring subcontractors to do a lot of the work. And we're saying, well, we want to have parents who I'm sure are going to want to help do some of this stuff. And so we're working with him on maybe some volunteer projects to see how that could be. We're right in the midst right now of getting bids. So once we know who we're working with, and who's going to be doing all that work, we'll keep that in mind. But I think that would be a lot of fun and a good community project.
So Wolf, great question on the soccer. You know, I think, again, I'm not the expert here, but as you can remember, at FEL, we've basically been using that court for everything, volleyball, soccer, basketball. So I think there is an opportunity to also use the basketball court, adding soccer goals as a mini soccer pitch. The half soccer pitch on that side, it would be artificial turf, right, Eric?
Yeah.
So this means it can be used in other ways, also as a soft space, maybe, you know, yoga, other activities. I am the enemy number one of asphalt. I've said, you know, I don't want any artificial. I mean, if it was my choice, you would only be getting wood chips and plants. So be careful what you wish for. And so I'm definitely a big supporter of also having, you know, other activities, including the play structure. I mean, we want a small play structures, especially for our younger students, but as parents, we all know we're gifted with so many parks and lots of play structures all over San Francisco. So we want to make sure that in our yard, we also offer something that's unique and not necessarily what you're going to find at your local park. So that is a very good point on rethinking the sizes of things. Thank you, Wolf, for the comment.
What kind of play structure are you thinking about? I'm just curious in terms of the, is it like a traditional one you'd see at FEL, or like?
Good question, Mike. Elisa and Eric, do you want to chip on that? I mean, we're talking to one company. Again, I'm also a big proponent of natural material play structures, Mike. I don't always win that battle, but what are you looking at? I mean, I know Elisa and Eric are working with it.
Yeah,
company.
we are in conversation with a play structure designer from the company that we are going to hire, and Michele Zini, to make the best of. I mean, ideally in Reggio you have a lot of natural materials, but you cannot get exactly all the same climbing and fun of a traditional play structure. So we're working on putting together all the elements to make the most of the two aspects.
And we're trying to make it bigger. I've done a bunch of drawings back and forth with Michele Zini, and so the play structure soft surface has grown so that we can have something that's really kind of cool there, is the hope.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for the support. There's other people who like natural play structures, just saying. So let's form a committee. Let's collect some signatures. No, I'm kidding. But I think, you know, it's something that we definitely want to keep in mind.
There's a question about the kind of longer term timeline.
Thank you, Ina. I was actually wondering who was going to ask that question. We want that question.
Do you want to do that, Valerie? You want me to talk?
I can start.
All right. So we're re-engaging with the entitlement process, which is the City of San Francisco process for the whole master plan of the Mission campus. We had put that process on hold during the COVID. And so we're re-engaging with that. The timeline with that is that we would be prepared to break ground fall of 2022. And the new building has been the primary focus. So as opposed to San Carlos, we need to rename San Carlos. It's St. Charles, San Carlos, I get confused. So let's have a group here, competition for renaming the hall where the gym is. But the idea is that the first building that would be built would be the new main building, the building after, and that would be ready with, as I said, kids and desks fall of 2024. Again, that would be pending donations and financing. And the follow after that, we would have San Carlos, which is the middle school, and the performing arts. I'm doing this from memory. I don't have my slides in front of me. And then after that, we would lift St. Charles. So St. Charles gets lifted 18 inches so that the lower level actually gets rebuilt and has all the new classrooms that we want there. The upper floors are historic. And then we are done. So those after 2024, we don't have a timeline, where they're kind of each 2-year processes. St. Charles lifting is a 1-year process. San Carlos is a 2-year process.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing thank you, Eric, for the great summary. And you know, we have shared the timeline and the presentation that we did, so we can reshare that with you. And as you know, these things are not set in stone. The order of things is, but not necessarily the timing associated with it. So I think, you know, the good thing about this site is we have that flexibility to do things in phases. But you know, we're fully committed to, you know, doing this as soon as we can do it.
Somebody asked about an update on financing. We don't have an update on that yet. We right now we're focusing on the summer, and we're focusing on the entitlement, and we're quickly soon focusing on trying to get the details so we can have really good hard costs for the new main building. So there's an effort around that as well.
And then Michael, also to add on to that, obviously the financing piece and the fundraising piece go hand in hand. So for a financial institution to offer us financing, they also want to see how committed the community is, and they want to make sure that we have raised a specific amount of money that is a percentage of the total cost of the building, in order for them to, obviously looking at our financial statements as well, but they want to see that we have raised, or actually people have pledged a certain dollar amount so that we can then get the financing. We also have great, you know, committees, and the board is working on this. We've been looking at alternative ways of financing that other schools have come up with. So if you know anyone in the school community, or if you are that person that has a very creative way of getting financing for a nonprofit, talk to me and Eric as soon as you can, because you know, it's, again, nonprofits and schools are not traditional corporations, and it's not as easy for us to get financing as it would be for other types of organization.
Mike is asking about the HVAC systems in the classrooms. They come with all of the systems, yes.
Yeah, they pose a great threat to our aesthetics, Mike. They look terrible. We have them. We need them, but we're basically thinking of ways to conceal them from the outside.
We're going to plant beautiful vines and
put the
paint
planters.
them. Yes.
Yes. We'll have the planters, but they have the whole system.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
We do have an outstanding question, whether the San Carlos gym will be available in the fall, I believe it was.
As it has been, and now, yes, we have a limit in how many hours we can use the gym for, but we will continue to use it, yes.
Wolf has asked about trees. So we're going to be putting in, do you guys remember the visual of the 3D rendering? There was that, what I called the groovy platform with the steps. That platform will actually have 3 big planters that are 4 feet by 4 feet, and we're bringing in, there you go. Yeah, so there's one more planter over here close to the, we've added another planter over here close to the sheds. So there's 3 little groupings of trees for a total of 4 trees. And those will be 36-inch box. You go to the big commercial nurseries, and you see those big giant crates with the trees, where we haven't picked the species yet, but those are big mature trees.
And I have a lot of very strong opinions on trees. So please send me your recommendations. The challenge here, Wolf, we want as many trees as possible, but we also want to make sure that we can replant them This is not the final configuration of the yard. And I mean, Elisa knows we have been tried everything we could in our power to replant this avocado tree that's inside the convent right now. So we want to make sure that we have trees that we can save and rescue and keep for the the future yard. But yeah, absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So Sarah, for the bad air days, I think we will do what we had done in the past. So we secure the building. We actually have, and Elisa, you're the expert on this, but we have air purifiers, commercial grade air purifiers in every classroom. We will be, windows will be shut, and then we will keep the school open. I mean, that was always the recommendation from the city. Also because in many cases, unless you live in a new building with a full air conditioning and filter system, your air at home will probably be worse than it will be at school. So the idea is to keep them here with the air purifiers on and the windows closed as recommended by the city, like we used to do in the past. We also have air monitors, so little things that Elisa walks around with to check the air quality. And of course, we have a table that we can share with you again, where if it goes above a certain level, we will close school like we did in the past. At the moment, we don't have plans to have any remote learning next year, as the majority of independent schools have made that choice, because it's just really it's been such a strain on the system, especially for our amazing faculty, and so they were super committed and were able to do it this year. And we're so proud of them for we're really one of the few schools where we had everybody back on campus, thanks to the faculty as well, and also being able to support those of you who have to stay home. But at the moment, we don't plan to have that next year. But of course, if it gets really bad, we will close school and everybody will be home.
And I just wanted to add that we had purchased more powerful air purifier this year that are currently at FEL, and we'll of course bring them with us. So we'll be definitely over the threshold that is recommended for purifying air.
Melissa asked about the timing of why there's hours and limited use of the gym at San Carlos. I can't speak,
12 hours.
Speak to that.
It's 12 hours a week, right, Eric? Yeah, Elisa, it's 12 hours a week. Yeah.
And that's because the use of that building is not set up as officially a school. So it's a planning department rule.
And this is interesting because obviously the former school and the Archdiocese had been using it as a school for about 60 years. But they said they just did it. But we're rule followers, so we're not going to. We're gonna follow the rules.
And somebody asked about the drop-off. There's in terms of timing and then also the location for the white curb and the gate entrance to Mission. Can Elisa? Yeah.
Elisa and Fede.
Yeah. Jenna. Yes. Yeah, we're working on, and we were still waiting for the guidelines for the reopening, for the following year. But we will find to have kind of the same, staggering time, so you can do the 2 drop-off and be on time for school. And yes, the idea is kind of like to have, also in the past, we have staggering time for, piccoli, grandi, and grandissimi. So we were trying to make sure that it's not be the same time also for the K2 or K3. But yes, we're still waiting. So everything is still happening here.
Yeah, I mean, we've always had a staggered schedule. The other option, again, in the past, there was never enough interest for this, Jenna, but we have tried a few times to recommend, like a transport system. And I can't remember the different companies we used. Dudia, you may have a memory of that, or Sally. There was never enough interest so that we could get to a number of people that, would make it work. if there was a transport between the two sites, it would have to be between Dogpatch and Mission, because we're not allowed to have the little ones on a transport. But if there was enough interest and a large enough group of parents that was interested in doing it, we could potentially have a drop-off point at Dogpatch, and all those kids could be taken to the Mission. So definitely something to reopen if you think there is interest in the parent community.
We're also working as a part of the bigger plan. Once we're gonna develop the new building, we had planned to have an additional white zone on 18th Street. So we're taking advantage of this expedite route on this new summer project to push through also this request, but at the moment we don't know when it's going to happen.
And actually, maybe this, Eric, maybe this is, or Elisa, maybe this is when having some letters from parents would be helpful. I mean, if need be, of support, like you want the white zone, so you're not going to block traffic on 18th Street. We did that at FEL.
Yeah, let me see. I'll ask our permit expediter if that kind of thing would be helpful. He and I had a call this morning, and I'll have a call with him again tomorrow. So I'll bring it up. So
Andrea, actually, and on the note of you as a parent, a voter, and a citizen having an impact, so the Shotwell Street, Slow Street is beyond our control. We would be super supportive of it, which is also why, I mean, Elisa and I talked like maybe 6 months ago, it's like, it would be awesome to have it as a slow street. So let's start working on that white zone on 18th in case they take this away. Well, if they take this away, they would have to give us that white zone and potentially even ask the church if we could use that white zone in front of the San Carlos Church. Yes, another Charles Carlos name to confuse you. The parish is at the corner of 18th and Van Ness. They have a white zone that obviously is not used during the week because they don't have service. So that could also be an option for the older students. You know, the middle schoolers can, you know, more easily cross the street, and we could have either para-volunteers or someone standing there at the crossing. But I think this is something that you wanna like check at the planning department site. And I mean, I know there is an initiative to keep the slow streets slow. I think it would be absolutely wonderful to have. I mean, this has been such a great, I mean, for us, it's been so wonderful to have this slow entrance into the school day. And this white zone is a lot more relaxing than the Fell Street zone. We can promise you that. Thank you, Joel. So Joel put the petition in the chat. So if you know someone at the city and you haven't signed the petition yet, please do so. And we're sure also that our friends at ODC are working on this plan as well. This will be really fantastic for all of us. And really in this block, I mean, there is, basically, this is a block of Shotwell that I think would benefit from being closed. It's residential and there's only a few businesses, so we think it would be fantastic. Any other questions, Joel, that we got prior to the meeting or that we missed?
I speak faster than I write.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could also mute yourselves and just jump in.
I'm just wondering if the kids are going to still eat in their classrooms, or we're going to have like a common room like we used to have in FEL.
Yeah, so unfortunately there isn't a common room that's large enough here at the Mission, and some of the downstairs areas, the basement, had been used as a small lunchroom, but until we have the definitive class configuration, we're not sure that that can be used. So that is really possibly the for me, one of the most important reasons why we need to continue to move forward and think about building that building as soon as we can, because that's such an important experience. Andrea, I agree with you. The other thing is the outdoor tables that we have, and actually Eric and I had just touched on this in our last meeting, the area between the modulars. I mean, maybe creating more space outside where kids could occasionally eat when the weather is nice. Obviously the younger ones, just like a FEL, would eat in their classroom because it's just less transitions for them. We used to, you know, drag them down to the multipurpose room in the first year we were a FEL, and then for the little ones, it wasn't actually that enjoyable. But yes, so we'll see. Space is going to be tight, and it's that's why hopefully we can move forward with the beautiful building ahead.
They're gonna enjoy being together again.
I think so. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. I really think it's been all of us, really, everyone. I mean, the whole community. I mean, you parents, you know, interacting with parents from older grades, and I think for the faculty and staff, and just the kids. I mean, it's so beautiful to see those interactions between the older students and the little ones, and we've all missed that. And especially Sally, I don't know if Sally, you're still on the call. I think you should say something about your initiative on connecting the dots, because that was such a beautiful thing we had, and we can't wait to have it again.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, just before COVID, we formalized our flocks concept, where children from each grade would come together and as a flock of birds. So we had all the different flocks and introduced it, and we did it about 6 times during the school year, and it was such a special opportunity, kind of as an alternate to our all-school assemblea. And we really look forward to picking that back up again and having it across now our K through 8, which will be quite exciting. And those will be the relationships when an older class visits a younger class to do buddy writing or reading or some shared initiative.
Grazie, Sally. I can't wait to see that happening again. Any other questions? Let's see. Okay, so no more questions. So I think maybe we just have a few more minutes. So thank you so much for being with us. In the last few minutes, I encourage you, as always, to continue to stay positive. We really wouldn't have made it through this year without staying as connected as we were, all of us. And things are slowly getting better. I hope you are able to get vaccines. As we were having this meeting, my 15-year-old is getting vaccinated. So they opened up the other night, and pretty much our 8th grade class from last year, they were there with their own initiative, went on the Walgreens website and booked themselves a COVID test, a testament to them, owning their own learning and life. And so I hope that you'll be able to see your loved one this summer and, think of something that is other than COVID for the summer. Eric, did you want to add something?
No, thank you everybody for your questions. It's great to share this stuff, and it's good to hear feedback.
Yeah, and always please feel free to send emails to me and Eric, and we want to hear it all, or Elisa, who she's in Italia now, and Elisa, we're so jealous. You're there already, see, so you can actually travel now.
You can. I'm quarantining because in Italy you still have to, but tomorrow apparently they will change the rules. We'll see.
So you can be free tomorrow, Lisa. We hope you can get out of your apartment. We're all gonna keep our fingers crossed.
Actually, that's the retroactive part. It's not clear, so it's not sure if I can enjoy the weekend or just wait until Monday. But I'll definitely get my extra COVID test on Monday, so I can go have lunch with my grandma, which is 90, and she's vaccinated as well. So.
But we have big thanks to Elisa. Actually, I want to say thank you specifically because she's doing her summer travel now, so that she can actually be on the ground to manage all this work that we're talking about for this mission campus over the summer. So thank you so much. It's really fantastic you did this for us.
Grazie, Elisa. Okay.
Keep us posted about the hearing if you need some parent support, or if I'm here in the summer and you need some of the school parents to show up or write a letter, let us know. So
Grazie, Andrea. That's really super appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lisa, if you need a coffee during the summer, just text me, and if I'm here, I'll bring you one. Thank you.
Grazie mille. Thank you, everyone. And keep the questions and the comments coming. And we really appreciate them. And 3 suggestions too. Send everything our way. Grazie mille.
Grazie.